You cheer for them on the court and the field, but there's another side to Wisconsin's sports stars.
I want my kid to grow up here in Milwaukee and not to be scared to walk in the street.
A movement that dates back to the man who led Milwaukee to its only NBA title.
When one of us is not free, none of us are free. We've been dealing with this problem for too long. Let's do something about it.
The people are beyond fed up.
That was something big. And to see Giannis in the community and the neighborhood he was in.
Tonight, how Milwaukee's MVPs are changing the game. Good evening and welcome to our Project Community Special, Changing the Game. I'm Sports Director Dan Needles. Sports are the one thing that's always brought Milwaukee together. Now, as protesters pack the streets, renewing the call for social justice following George Floyd's death, we talk exclusively with NBA legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The former Buck has led the social justice march for more than 50 years.
Athletes can be leaders, especially in the black community. Athletes have been the ones that have stepped forward and used their voice and their platform to call attention to things that need to be dealt with. I think that's a good thing. I hope it continues.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar began his quest for social justice even before he was a young Buck star known simply as Lou Alcindor. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has filled many roles over the last half-century. A basketball star, an actor, an author, and always an activist for social change. Kareem was the most dominant force in college basketball history. 3 years at UCLA, he won 3 Player of the Year awards and 3 national titles. Drafted by the Bucks in 1969, it took just 2 years for Jabbar to win the first of his 6 NBA MVP awards while leading the Bucks to their only NBA title.
It's over! The Milwaukee Bucks are champions of the world!
In 1975, he demanded a trade from Milwaukee.
A number of people thought I left here, with a hostile attitude. I didn't. I want to get back to the sunshine a little bit.
He won 5 more NBA titles with the Lakers and retired as the NBA's all-time leading scorer. But the story goes much deeper. In 1967, he took part in the Cleveland Summit, standing alongside other prominent black athletes in support of Muhammad Ali's refusal to serve in the Vietnam War. 1 year later, he boycotted the Olympics because of the unfair treatment of blacks in America. In 1971, 3 years after converting to Islam, he changed his name from Lou Alcindor to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and dealt with the public backlash.
I kind of got used to being looked at a little bit differently.
A little bit differently.
And I just kind of accepted that as my fate in life.
Kareem has never been afraid to speak his mind about social injustice and has remained an activist for more than 50 years.
I had watched the civil rights movement on TV, basically through grade school and high school, and I had the good fortune of encountering Dr. King. I understood what it was about, and it was very important to me. If we can fix these issues, we're going to make America a better place, and that's the most important thing.
12 Sports' Stephen Watson spoke one-on-one with Abdul-Jabbar in an exclusive interview. Stephen joins us live from Fiserv Forum.
Kareem described the killing of George Floyd as pulling a scab off an unhealed wound in our country. In our conversation, we discuss racism in America and how talks have led to walks, which he hopes turns into action. Kareem, thank you so much for taking the time. We're nearly 2 weeks into these nationwide protests. What emotions are you feeling right now?
Well, I think I'm caught between hope and history. What the United States is all about really gives us hope, because it's supposed to be about one man, one vote, and everybody treated equally under the law. That's what our hope is. Our history has not exactly been like that. So, we have to overcome that. We have to overcome the tendency to fall back into times when things weren't equitable. So we just have to pay attention to that and keep focus on the steps that we're going to take to move us forward.
Kareem, I want to ask you about an op-ed piece you recently wrote in the LA Times, and there's one quote that really stood out to me. when you wrote, "Racism in America is like dust in the air. It seems invisible, even if you're choking on it, until you let the sun in. Then you see it's everywhere. As long as we keep shining that light, we have a chance of cleaning it wherever it lands." Are you encouraged by how the light has been shining during this period of time?
You know what's really encouraged me? The fact that Americans of so varied backgrounds are all concerned about this and are all demonstrating. It's not a demonstration of one ethnic group or one area or one part of our country. It's all over the country and all over the world. And when you get a whole lot of marginalized groups and they all are being treated the same way, when they band together, they have a lot more power. And I think the demonstrations have that kind of power because they appeal to that broad spectrum of American people. What we've all figured out is that when one of us is not free, none of us are free. And we have to get to that point. So I think the demonstrations really are underlining that point, and you know, they're having an impact.
This has been an ongoing conversation from you for a long time now. How have you been able to remain on this path for such a long period of time?
Well, you know, the problem has remained. So as long as there's a problem, we have to deal with it. And it's really encouraging that so many people are saying, hey, you know, we've been dealing with this problem for too long. Let's do something about it. And, you know, I hope that sentiment continues to have its effect.
Your father and your grandfather were both police officers.
Yes.
What do you think they would think of all of this?
Well, I think that they would appreciate the position here. You know, if we don't have the support of police agencies, we won't be able to get anything done. The police have to understand that there's a problem. And I've seen it in a number of cases across the country now, police chiefs and police commissioners are saying, yeah, there is room for improvement here. And of course there's room for improvement. When we get there, our nation will be a lot stronger because so many more people will have faith in what it's supposed to be about.
What is your advice for how we can best change as a society?
I've been telling people, just go out and make friends with somebody who doesn't look like you. You know, if you can do that, that's the issue here. You know, the distrust we have, the othering of our fellow citizens. We shouldn't be doing that. We need to find out the broad variety of American citizens and celebrate them and treat them with the respect that they deserve as citizens of our country.
Do you feel like the message is being heard?
I know it's being heard. I don't know how far it's going to be heard, but certainly it's being heard. You see all of the demonstrations across the country, across the world, Australia, Berlin, Hong Kong. It's amazing. I think that is significant. People see a need for change, and maybe we've come to a point where we have the political will to do something about this, because this problem has lasted for a very long time. The history of America, you know, it's spotted. So, you know, we have to be careful and keep our eyes on the prize here, and you know, make sure we follow through in the right way.
His resume includes NBA champion, MVP, NBA's all-time leading scorer, author, activist. And I asked Kareem, when he looks back on his legacy, what's going to be at the top for him? And he said, using my voice for change. He said the transition from going from the NBA to author is one that was impactful for him. Dan?
Stephen, we saw Giannis out with protesters for the first time last weekend. So what did Kareem think about that?
I asked Kareem that very question. What would be your advice to him about how he can use his platform? The encouragement from one MVP to another coming up, how athletes can be leaders in the push for change.
Do you think it's easier for athletes now to take the stand Kareem did then?
Then Shop Talk. 12 News' Derek Rose hits the barbershop to find out how Giannis's new activism is being noticed in the community.